Welcome to the final episode of the Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Andre Johnson, here in Sage Media Solutions. We decided to save an up-and-coming program for last. Listen, we're here with the legendary Danny Landberg. He's been here for 23 years, 6 PSAL championships, and if you're living under a rock, they just completed the 5-peat last year, going for number 6. Coach Danny, how's it going, man?
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Man, it's a pleasure, man. You know, it's New York football royalty over here, so, you know.
Yeah.
It's a privilege for me.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Listen, so, of course, 5 championships in a row, and, you know, I'm getting we're here in the summer workout, you know, to break the fourth wall. You know, we're in the middle of July right now. This is going to come out a little later in August.
Right.
And, you know, what is there, 60, 70 kids out?
A little bit more than that, probably somewhere in the 80s.
Listen, so that might just answer the question itself, but, you know, what sets E-Hall apart as a program?
What sets it apart from everyone else?
Absolutely.
I guess our culture and how it manifested itself throughout time, the legends that played here and the traditions that we keep, and just the way we teach and love the kids. It's just a different vibe.
So, of course, you guys had a lot of battles with Lincoln at Yankee Stadium in the beginning. And so just talk about what you really thought was your breakthrough moment. You knew like E-Hall really arrived.
You know, young man Wayne Morgan we had. He went on to play at Syracuse, had a tryout with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
He is the core of what this program is about as far as toughness and grit and heart. And you know, he was the man that led the way to show everybody how it's supposed to be done and to play through everything, through the tough times and trials and tribulations of life. And he was that example for everybody here. You know, we had some injuries that year going to the championship game, and we thought things would have been different, but it is nonetheless. And from there on, everybody, you know, kind of like emulated how Wayne handled it.
So Wayne was like the forefather of this whole thing.
Correct.
And he's involved with the program now, right?
He is. He's very much involved. He's working with the school. He works with the kids. He has his own training program, his own clothing line. He's an ambassador right now at this point, and he's the heart and soul of what this program's about.
And, you know, we'll definitely get into the alumni later, but just especially because we spoke about Wayne now, just as a coach, and of course, you know, you're leading young men. So to see, you know, him go from player to helping out the team as a grown man, you know, being successful, you know, what does that mean to you as a coach?
It's awesome. We have a couple of guys that are doing that now with us, and it's always great to see that we did something right, where they grew up.
Aside from win 6 championships.
Right. So we did something right. They grew up to be, you know, some great men that are paying it forward, that have something to give to society, and that people that we trust, and they followed through with the traditions that we taught here and brought into the culture, and now understand, listen, football is great, but it's not really what the end result of everything. It's about the lessons you learn here, how to be a man and go into society. So he got it. He learned it, and he's carrying it through.
And Coach, you know, everyone sees the finished product. You know, they see, you know, the Dutchman, the titles and everything like that. But just talk about the adversity that you guys faced coming to get to this point.
I mean, it's endless adversity. We went through a situation where you inherit a program that didn't have a team. Mm-hmm. I didn't take a team from somebody else. There was no team.
I didn't know that. Wow.
They didn't win a game in 10 years. They didn't score a point in 3 years before. And the reputation of Erasmus is always horrible from the past, not realizing that it's nothing like that anymore. So you have to fight those battles, not to mention you have a field that's 20 minutes away from your own school. So there's a lot of obstacles that go in the way, but, you know, I was once taught that, you know, every obstacle is an answer. And if you want something bad enough, you won't let your obstacles get in the way. And that's pretty much what we did. We stayed forward and focused with tunnel vision, just the Rocky mentality, of underdog mentality, and to never give up.
And do you kind of almost use those old days as a reminder to yourself? Of course, you have, you know, the ring ceremonies, but do you remember when, you know, E-Hall wasn't where it is today?
Yeah, I mean, I remember because it's cost a lot of my life. I gave up and lost a lot of things in my life to get to this point, and you know, I wouldn't take it back. But, you know, trust me when I tell you, I lost a lot in life to get to this point in the program.
Yeah, and I think that's like what people don't see. You know, I think it's a very great representation. We're out here under the sun in the middle of July. What coaches, and not only you, but your whole staff, the effort you guys have to put in. So of course, you guys have had just an excellent streak of dominance. You know, do you think overall, of course, on the inside, the dominance is great for E-Hall, but do you think it's good for the PSAL as a league, you guys being so dominant over a half a decade? I
mean, we weren't the first. We didn't, you know, become the greatest of all time. There are other programs before us that led that way, and they were kind of you know, a way for me to gauge where I wanted to be as far as, you know, there was the great Wagner teams of the 80s and 90s, and they were the, you know, they were the Mount Rushmore of where you wanted to be. So I don't see why not. I mean, for us, it was always, we wanted to outdo the best, and you have to find out what that level is, right? So we saw what that level is, and we want to reach that top of the mountain, same way someone did before us. So, I mean, it is what it is, hard work. That's just what it comes down to.
And honestly, the way I look at it as well is, first of all, it's not up to you guys to come down to everyone. It brings everyone else up to chase you guys and enhances the whole league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I believe that that's happening. I'm sure people are sick and tired of us, I'm sick and tired of us. But I think that it brings out the most in everybody else. And obviously social media plays a role in that stuff. And I don't get involved in that stuff. But yeah, man, you get sick of the Alabama, you get sick of the Patriots, and you get sick of those teams. But I'm not comparing us to them. But we're just trying to be the best we can be and worry about us.
Yeah, so competing against yourselves.
All the time.
That's the standards you guys have set here. So with the size of your squad, and of course, you have a tremendous amount of interest, people wanting to join the E-Hall family. And of course, you have, second, third, fourth, fifth string players. So you and the coaching staff, how do you guys manage such a big interest from outside to join the E-Hall family? Also, some players who want to get in the game with such a big squad.
I think it's not about the winning. It's about what we give you. And I think that it's more important what we do for these kids' lives, whether it's after college or getting to college or through high school, being a part of their lives, part of their families' lives, and making them understand that it's not about football. It's just that we're here to help you become a better man, a better person, a better family member, a better husband, a better father. And I think that, the love is kind of seen and carried through. And people kind of they want to absorb to it.
No, absolutely. I mean, of course, you see the winning, but again, I just want to emphasize we're in the middle of July, 80 plus people here to play. And I feel like that is really, they might see the winning, but then they come here and they might get smacked with reality. This is how we earn it, right?
Well, yeah, the working is second to none. I mean, we say that we win championships in January. We don't, not now, and it's all the way through.
January, I like that.
So our work is endless. I mean, personally, I'm never satisfied, and I worry to the last whistle blows till we win everything. But it's not really about the winning. It's really about the love and the culture and our tradition. Taking over Erasmus is we want to be able to have that family where everybody, those great ones, come back to visit, and we talk about those great times together, and we love, we laugh, we cry, we hug, and it's just about the tradition. It's not much about what everyone else thinks it is about with the winning and stuff. I mean, the winning is obviously a huge component about it, but for us, it's about the family, the nation, E-Hall Nation.
No, I love that, and we have to go back to the last time you guys played, and you were victorious over Tottenville, and I was fortunate enough to call that game. And I think, maybe it's something that you don't forget. You guys were down 14-7. You have the bad snap. Tottenville have the ball within the 20-yard line. Penalty happens. You get a stroke of good luck there. But then, they get the ball back. You stop them twice. And then from there, you get two huge plays, one from Lyric, another big run from the running back. And then Lyric had his second one to kind of put it away. So just talk about, that game. And when you guys went down, how did you kind of keep the crew together and keep them focused to get that fifth championship?
I mean, we've been there before. We were in England playing some. We're playing some guys that were older than us, and it was obvious to us how much older they were than we were, and we've been in some big games. We played in a game outside in the country versus one of the top number 8 team in the country, and our work ethic should speak for itself.
Yep.
And everybody's got to remain cool, and most importantly me. And I lose it sometimes, and halftime adjustments, there aren't that many. It's other really just regathering everybody together and get the ship rolling in the same direction.
Especially going up against Tottenville, Corey Brown with that 85-yard touchdown. I was on the call and I almost had to look these are E-Hall guys he's running against, right? So just talk about Tottenville and the effort they put in and some of the other top contenders in the league.
I mean, Tottenville was excellent that day.
Yeah,
those two running backs were amazing.
Yeah.
They're a real challenge. They're a real formidable team. They're a worthy opponent at the highest level. We got a work cut out for us, right? Yeah. And we've had a long history with them that dates back to Coach Munson and back to all the way since we first started playing them in 2009. It's definitely been a love-hate affair. It's kind of one of those things that should be like a 30 for 30. But at the end of the day, there's the utmost respect for those people and what they do over there. And, we don't take them lightly ever.
And you're someone, you've had so much experience in championship, high-pressure games. Every decision can change the course of history. Do those games, is making those important calls, is it different from a regular game, or is it just, regular for you at this point?
You would think it's different. It doesn't seem to feel that different when you're just in the middle of the game. I mean, I've been, I don't know, at Erasmus, I've been in 300 plus games, I guess.
Yeah, wow.
You just get to a point in time in life where you're just used to doing something, and you tell everybody else this is just a regular game. You got to remind yourself of that. But I think it all comes down to the preparation, right? So if you are prepared for a test, you're not going to sweat it and be nervous. You're just going to go do it like anyone else would, and just stay the course. I mean, that's what we're all about, is just staying the course and knowing what we do should rise to the top when the time comes.
No, I love that. And, we already spoke about it before, but, you guys in that trip to London, I really feel like you took New York sports to a completely new level. And going out there, I saw you guys on CBS, I was like, Mom, this is school in Brooklyn right now on CBS. So just talk about, that experience for you, the program, and the players.
Well, first of all, with the experience of going to England was probably the hardest thing I had to be a part of.
The hardest thing you had to be a part of?
The hardest thing I've ever been a part of as far as making it happen. Luckily, I had some great people in my corner. I have a director of operations, a teacher, Shed, and I have this assistant principal, Washington, and Bernadine. I have all these people helping us in Nike and the NFL, student sports, and putting the whole situation together with the passports.
Yeah.
It was insane. And, I was away on vacation taking meetings. I'd be at home over the summer taking meetings. I'd be at school taking meetings. I'd be at, in a restaurant taking meetings. It was always something that had to get done to make that whole trip happen. And it took the most work, like I said before, out of me plus others who did more than I did in behind the scene to make it happen. But, at the end of the day, I would do it again, as much as I wouldn't want to do it again. But I would do it again because that was a bucket list chance to have that situation, to see these kids, to see what they got to see and enjoy it, and it was second to none. Nike and NFL, I tip my hat to them for all they did for us.
So just from like the birth of the idea to, you guys are sitting in the airport, what do you think? 2 years of preparation, year of preparation?
No, this was a matter of 3 or 4 months.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane.
What?
That was it. It was a rush order to make it happen because the DOE and the PSAL and the mayor's office and NFL and Nike, they all had to get together and become on the same page. It's not that easy. There's a lot of red tape involved. So to make that happen, and then to get all these kids on their side and their parents to get everything that they need to make happen, plus worry about a season, was very intense.
So not only was this one of the most historic things ever in New York sports, but you also had a couple of months to make it happen.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, you don't normally have to get like a passport in 1 month to make it happen. We had to get 60 of them.
Yeah, that's incredible, and complete hats off to you. I was watching it and just proud. I'm not even me personally. I'm from Long Island, and just to see New York on that kind of level, I definitely tip my cap to you for that, of course. And speaking about New York in general. Over the past few seasons, you guys have definitely played in some really high-profile non-league games. You had Don Bosco last year. This year, you have St. Joe's and Cardinal Hayes. I think the Cardinal Hayes game is a game a lot of people are extremely excited about. So, just talk about how important you feel like these high-profile games are for Tri-State and for New York.
Listen, that's what we shoot for. We played St. Peter's Prep. They won the state a couple of years ago in New Jersey. We're constantly looking to evolve. The level of football that we're looking to play right now is to get our name out there and get exposure and get noticed from the nation. At the end of the day, we want to challenge ourselves to rise to another level, to prepare ourselves to get amped up to be able to play and get exposure. We're just looking to get noticed across the country.
Yeah.
And this is a young team, right? If I have 65 players this year, 13 of them are seniors. So we're very young for this team, but we still don't shy away from trying to play those teams because it makes us better.
Yeah.
The speed of the game, the coaching of the game, it's a great challenge, and it brings out the best of us. It makes us better in every way, from coaches to players, all across the board.
And do you kind of have that pride, like, it's the Catholic League up against the PSAL? You kind of want to lay a mark there?
No, I don't really care about that. I'm just looking for Erasmus to rise across the country.
It's all about Erasmus.
Well, it is always about Erasmus. I mean, I'm not worrying about anybody else, and they shouldn't be worrying about us. We want to get. There's not much left that we have to do in our coaching world that we've done so far in our lives here, my staff, and we just want to get it noticed across the country. I mean, the Nike sponsoring us was us getting noticed.
Yeah.
But we want to get acknowledged by the other schools in the country, whether it's in California or Florida, Georgia, whatever you have, to just get the same respect that we're looking for here.
No, I love that. Again, it just elevates everyone. And just like you said, getting that notoriety from the whole entire country. I think personally, and E-Hall being one of the leaders, New York athletes have really been on an uptick, I'd say, in getting recruited to high-level Division I schools and everything like that. So what do you think really led up to that uptick in recruitment for New York athletes?
I mean, if I'm going to be honest,
yeah, please. That's what we're here for.
I think it's two things that we did. We got into relationships with a lot of coaches in the country, and we got them to respect our game and our coaching. So I would go out there and talk ball with them. They realize that we know what we're talking about. One of my coaches, Coach Mouse, and myself separately, and then along staff, we were going out to taking trips across the country. We've been with our players to USC, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Tennessee. I mean, you name it, we've been there. And I think that at the time, back then, a lot of schools were not coming to Brooklyn to notice our kids, so we went to them. And there was a point in time where these camps were so expensive. I mean, we weren't letting our kids not go because they couldn't afford it, and we made sure that was taken care of too. We want our kids to get recognized. We want our kids to get a fair shot, to let them show what we're capable of here as athletes in New York City. And what changed for us is when we started getting kids that are smaller stature getting scholarships, that changed the norm. So there's been players in the past, here and there, they got scholarships out of New York City, but those kids had the obvious size, right? Whether it's height or weight. We were starting to get scholarships for kids, like literally got scholarships for kids in the Division I level or HBCU at a 5'4", 5'7", 5'8", 5'9". And when we had Curtis Samuel at a regular 5'11", 185-pound kid, or Wayne Morgan, 5'10", 180-pound kid, going to Ohio State, going to Syracuse, they started to take notice, and then they started sprinkling in one by one, whether it was Dabo Sweeney coming to my office, or Alabama, or USC or Ohio State, and building relationships with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. They'd all start coming in because of the relationships, and because we would go to them as well, and forced our kids on their field to make them notice it. And we were very aggressive when we were there too. We were New Yorkers, so we would step on the field, hey coach, and pull their shirts. Here's my kid right here, look what he's doing right here, and check him out, and force them to notice how great they are, because we know how great they are. And when we did that, it was like, wow, you're not just some obnoxious New Yorker, you know what you're talking about here. And because of that, it became a trickling affair, and we're so blessed to have so many kids get scholarships. I mean, we're over 70 in the last decade,
70.
Over 30 million in the last decade in scholarship money. So, everybody knows who we are at this point in time, and that's why we have our saying, which is called Erasmus is the house of chips and ships, scholarships and championships and scholarships, and that's what it is.
Man, I mean, I gotta take a step back after hearing all that. I love that. I was even going to ask, from seeing, Curtis Samuel and his recruitment to Ohio State, and Lyric and his recruitment to Penn State. I was gonna ask, and I'll ask it. What differences between the recruitment back then and now do you see? And I know you've already said that you guys have been so hands-on, going to the schools, trying to make sure they know who you are and your program is, so they come look at your kids. But in your words, how would you say recruitment has changed? Well,
personally for me, that I built a relationship with coaches that I give an evaluation that's going to be honest.
Yeah. And
if they're not good enough, I'm not going to lie and say they're good enough, because then you're never going to trust me when I have one that is. So when I'm speaking to somebody like a James Franklin from Penn State about a Lyric Samuel, and he asked me a question about him, I don't sugarcoat anything. And whatever his negatives are his negatives, and what his positives are, and his positives will outweigh the negatives, and because everybody he's recruiting has negatives as well. And we just want to make sure that we're coaching our kids to do the right things, so that we have the things to say in a positive way that they're going to look right, so they know that they're getting a great finished product. That's what it just comes down to: relationships and evaluations.
I love that. Some good insight, man. He's giving y'all a little blueprint, just a little bit of it, just the tip of the iceberg. So, definitely take note of that. We just talked about your alumni a lot, but you have such a robust alumni network, and how do you have them feel so connected to the program even after years after they played?
The alumni is the craziest thing around. So there was a year I had to leave because they were closing the schools, And the alumni, I was telling them I'm leaving, and they were upset about it.
What year was that?
In 2005, they were closing down the schools, and they told me basically that it wasn't going to be around anymore because the small school setting was put into effect. So when they said the small school setting was coming, there wasn't going to be enough kids to have a program. But to them, they didn't know what it was either, the DOE, and they didn't realize because that was the guinea pig era. But we did have enough, and I did come back. But nonetheless, I was telling the alumni that I had to leave, and they're like, well, we have to stay loyal to our program. We have to rock with the Dutchmen. And I understood it. But it didn't really, marinate into my mind. We had a great man named Wayne Gabriel, whose son played for me, and he passed away. And, we have his 44 number in the corner where everybody touches it when they score a touchdown. That's because where he used to stand. Okay. But the alumni come out here and they talk about their good old days from the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, whatever have you. And they're cooking for every kid, and everyone gets a meal every single game, and they have their own DJ. It's a party for them. And for them, it's just the greatest memories you could possibly come up with. And, it just shows you how important Erasmus tradition is to those people. And we've embraced them. So if we have a dinner, they get their own table. If we have a team practice, first day of practice, they come to talk to the kids. They want to make a donation, they make a donation. They want to see the kids and hang out with them. They do that whenever they want. They just have the greatest group of people that are involved in this, and count as a part of our success as well.
And just talk about your Thanksgiving tradition. That's always one of my favorite things to see on social media, everybody out here for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is the best. That's my favorite practice. So Thanksgiving, luckily we're in the city championship, so we're practicing that morning. So we have to practice for a city championship game. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, we're out here. So I'm ordering food, and so I get everybody a Thanksgiving dinner and dessert and what have you. And, everybody's getting suited up and playing, and guys who've played in the past come get suited up. And they get, knocked on, and everybody gets challenges one-on-one, and, all the alumni come down, and it's like a big what to do with the family and the players, and just have a great laugh, great competition, practice, eat like champions, and play like champions.
And just like you were saying, it's a privilege to play on Thanksgiving, and you guys have been there, 5 years in a row. So just talk about, coming back to this year, talk about some of your key players in this upcoming year and your coaching staff in general, because I'm sure Rome wasn't built by itself, and of course you have a great coaching staff.
Well, coaching wise, I've got my close friends that we went to high school together with Rosnell Dorsonville. He's the defensive coordinator, and Ray Mouse Lizzie, who runs the secondary. Coach Wheeler, we went with the offensive coordinator. And listen, I have so many coaches. Rudy Lyrison with me, we do the offensive line together. Maurice Lopez and Keith Robinson, so many guys, so many guys, and they all matter. They all matter greatly, and they all have, Sal Rogers. We all have a special ingredient to being a part of the meal, because without one ingredient, it doesn't taste the same. Yeah. But other than that, with the players, our Lyric Samuel, wide receiver, he separated himself as that kind of player right now, one of the greats that we've had here in the program. And you always find yourself comparing him to some of the guys you've had in the past. Right, so we have a guy like him size-wise, and Sean Ryan, who went to Temple, went to West Virginia and Rutgers, and now he plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Wow. So we kind of like compare him to them, and he's right there as well. We expect to have the same type of success for him. We have Amir Morrow, our running back, who's got a couple of offers from Syracuse and Boston College. Defensive end Tyler Davis, who's committed to Fordham University. Awesome. And a bunch of other guys. It's not really a team of like one guy is separate from the rest of the team. This is more of a blue-collar, lunch pail type of team who get their fingernails dirty and play hard together. And, it's going to take everyone. Not one guy can carry this team. It's going to take everyone to make this one happen.
Last question, Coach. This upcoming year, is it championship or bust for E-Hall? What are your expectations for this season? How do you go into a season?
I'd be lying to say it's not at the same time. Because for Erasmus, if you don't win it, you're looked upon and frowned upon, whatever have you, in every way. There's some programs that rather us lose than them win a playoff game, from what I've seen, right? So obviously the hate is real, right? But for me, it's knowing that we're making these guys better people, better men. And knowing that we're having a great life together, living and enjoying life. And it sounds corny, but I just want to live life and enjoy it. We've been in 11 championships. We've been so many. I just want to know that when I rest at night that I'm doing the right thing as best I can, and God is looking down on us and saying that, tipping his hat, and that we're just doing the right thing in the world, and hopefully we're making people's lives better.
Coach, it was a great conversation. Appreciate you, man. Guys, be sure to look out for us all year on YouTube. We'll be covering all the games in the PSAL. Thank you.